Wait, guys, it just occurred to me, should we put on different shirts or does it not matter?
Oh, I think the gig is up.
Okay. Yeah,
it's the other ones we look the same in each
Yeah, that's true.
That we batch record these things.
Hey, everyone, guess what? We record these 4 at a time.
We're not fooling anyone.
No one got a croissant between the last episode and this one, nor did they achieve orgasm.
Actually, I did.
Well, I did, yeah. Yeah, you guys can't see my hands. You don't know what's going on. This is a show called Whyte Noise. It's 3 white people
Wilder.
talking about nothing. Oh, yeah, that's Ryan.
I'm Michael.
I'm Chelsea Jacobson. We're 3 white people. We talk about nothing. It's just noise. It's Whyte Noise.
You can ignore us. Put us on and ignore us.
Yeah, put us on. Do other things. Do the dishes.
Masturbate.
Feed your baby. Masturbate with no hands.
Yes.
No hands. And each time there's a new topic. And Ryan and Michael each have 10 minutes to talk about this topic however they want to. And then I pick a winner however I want to. And then we pick a new topic and do it all again. Ryan, you won last time, so would you like to start or would you like Michael to start?
No, I feel like I had an unfair advantage in the last one. So Michael gets to lead the way.
Okay, Michael, you have 10 minutes on Pinky.
Great.
Are you ready?
I am.
On your marks, get set, go.
Okay. I'm so excited because I have so many notes. So this is going to be a jumbled mess. Now, so when I think of Pinky, well, the first thing I think of is that like fish that have like the little thing on the front with the little like light.
Oh, anglerfish.
Anglerfish that like lures. I don't know why I picture like it's like a little pinky thing. Anyway.
It's actually called a pinky.
Is it really?
No.
No. Damn it. I thought I was so smart. No. So Pinky just, obviously makes me think of fingers as it is a finger. And it makes me think of that show, Bones. I don't know if you remember it.
Wasn't it like a lady who was an investigator that could like look at the bones and figure out what happened or something like that?
She was just like brilliant. And I think the whole idea was that she was like on the spectrum. Like she was sort of like a character who was, I think she had, she was autistic, but like before they could like blatantly say that. So they were like, she's just quirky and brilliant.
To it.
It was played by Emily Deschanel, played her, Zooey Deschanel's older sister. But anyway, there's an episode where I'll never forget it, she's has a baby that she's like tasked to watch and she doesn't know what to do and it starts crying. And so she just goes like, she waves her fingers in front of its face and she's like, phalanges, dancing phalanges.
Okay.
And that was how I learned the word phalanges because I was a dum-dum and had never heard that word before.
Great word.
And I love now referring to my like fingers as phalanges. And like when I would do Moira Rose, like that was one of my go-tos because I was like, that sounds like such a Moira Rose word. It's like, well, look at you with your dancing phalanges. Like instead of jazz hands, it would be like bossy phalanges.
And if you're not familiar, listener, for whatever reason, Michael does very, very funny, very popular impressions of Schitt's Creek characters online.
Go find them.
Go find them.
So
I'm very good at the Moira Rose impressions.
Thank you. I love the word phalanges, but I realize I've never really looked into it. So phalanges, if you don't know, are just a grouping of bones. So is what that word classifies as. So it's classified as long bones because of their structural characteristics. So even though the bones in our fingers, they're groupings, so they're phalanges, and they're long because of their shape, even though they're technically like little. But each single one is called a phalanx. Phalanx, which that I didn't know. And a phalanx consists of a shaft, a distal head, and a proximal base.
This is like a phallus. Same.
It's same idea. So phalanx, though, when you look up the definition of the word phalanx, the bone cluster, if you will, is only the second definition, one of the digital bones of the hand, foot, or a vertebrae. The first definition is a body of heavily armed infantry in ancient Greece formed in close, deep ranks and files. So the word where we get phalanges from for our fingers actually comes from phalanx, which is actually the Greek word for their infantry, which I think is interesting. So that led me down a little rabbit hole of...
Is that because our fingers are like a group of infantry?
I guess so.
Ooh.
So that led me into like infantrymen in ancient Greece, which I love because it's super gay.
I was gonna say, it's gonna be gay.
gay.
So here we go.
So
Homosexuality in the militaries of ancient Greece.
Wow, that's gotta be, I don't know, whatever joke I was gonna make, I don't know if I'm allowed to say. I was gonna say it's gayer than insert, but.
A clutch purse on Tony night.
There you go.
Gayer than a bunch of Spartan soldiers. No, so obviously for people who don't know, like homosexuality was like encouraged in Greek militaries just because they figured you were much more likely to fight for your lover than you were for, you know, your country or your county, or, you know,
been my personal experience, by the way. Go on.
Oh no. So yeah, they even like Plato wrote the Plato's Symposium is all about this. He had this great quote where he says, "He would rather die many deaths, while as for leaving the one he loves in a lurch, or not succoring him in peril, no man is such a craven that the influence of love cannot inspire him with a courage that makes him equal to the bravest born." And it was interesting when you look at like homosexuality in ancient Greece and ancient Rome, it was really well known and really accepted. Like they were still weirdly expected to like marry, you know, women and men were still expected to marry and procreate and have a family, but in their side lives, they could do whatever they wanted. And interesting that they didn't even have a word for homosexuality or bisexuality. This was just accepted by society. Yeah, which I think is interesting. And if only we could get back to that. So there was one group in particular that this needs to be a movie, called the Sacred Band of Thebes. And they were a top, like, elite group of warriors that were made up solely of homosexuals. And they're great if you want to read about them. The Secret Band of Thebes. Thebes. They
wait, because Secret Band of Thebes with a V is a thing, right?
Yeah. So this is the Secret Band of Thebes.
Okay.
Not to be confused with the Thebes. They were one of the most, one of the greatest military forces. They were a small force. There was only, I want to say, how many of them were there? 150. It consisted of 150 gay male couples. So math, 300. They formed their little society when the Thebans were conquered by the Spartans. And they sort of formed this underground military group. I mean, shocker of how they met. I mean, who knows? They're probably like in little like FEMA bathhouses. And they were like, girl, we got to do something about these Spartans. And they were like, yeah, we do. And so they formed this group and they like kicked those Spartans out of there. They vanquished. And the cool thing is, though, the Spartan army at that point was 3 times the size and they still managed to like vanquish them. They were a powerful force up until Alexander the Great finally defeated them. But even Alexander the Great was like really impressed. He said that as he fought, you know, the phalanx lay dead together and understanding they were a band of lovers, Alexander wept at the sight of their loss. And he ended up erecting a giant stone lion in Thebes to commemorate them.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah. So they were like a badass
nice
group.
Of Alexander.
Yeah, so even he respected them. Also, Alexander famously had a male lover who was
very
like
gay.
Very bisexual, very
that was like
pansexual,
par for the course, right?
Yeah.
Like, did he have a eunuch lover?
I think so. He had a lot of lovers.
But that was like really par for. I'm really speaking in broad strokes here, but like Romans, Greeks, they often had like young men that they would castrate and like take as their lovers, right? Like
yeah,
emperors.
I think they had that too.
That was like a thing.
Yeah. So that's that rabbit hole that I went down.
Okay.
That was a fun one. And then, because how much time do I have left?
2 minutes.
Okay, great. So the other thing it made me think of, this was just in case I ran out of time while talking about gay Greeks, which actually we could probably go on forever. But I also, one thing I love to do that I started to do as a kid because I fancied myself an old British woman, even as a child, was when I drank was to lift my pinky because I thought it looked cool. And so I was curious as to where that came from. So pinky lifting when you drink. did not start until roughly 1840. So that was when like tea was becoming really big in the United Kingdom, but they had those little teacups and you couldn't obviously get all 5 fingers on there. So you had to like grip them and you had to lift your pinky. And the original reason they gave was that like they were wide shaped, flat bottom cups that it was hard not to spill. So you had your pinky out for balance. Really? This is that's the official statement. The other statement, which I like better, is that in 1840, the Duchess of Bedford, who was this really interesting lady, she was like best friends with Queen Victoria. She's a real fun character. She was her like lady of the bedchamber or something like that, which this feels appropriate. So she also is a bit of an eater. And this was back in the day where you only ate 2 meals per day. You had breakfast, you had dinner, and that was it. So the Duchess of Bedford used to get a little peckish in the afternoon. So she started the tradition of having afternoon tea, where you would have tea and some like snacks. And that all started with her. She eventually would have like lady friends over and they would go to her little like garden tea house. And they would have tea. Now, she also, along with enjoying food, she really enjoyed the company of a gentleman. And
I love this lady.
Overheard that at this tea, that the ladies who would come over for tea, and if they raised their pinky finger while sipping their tea, it was a sign that they wanted a little something special for dessert.
Little dessert.
Yeah.
Oh, the timer's going off, but I think we all know what you mean.
Yeah. So that really, when you're drinking and lifting your pinky, really what you're signaling is that
you want some.
You want a little something with your crumpets and cream.
Little sugar in your tea.
Little sugar.
Yeah. But yeah, Duchess of Bedford she's a fun character. I love that was a fun discovery.
It. The Duchess of Bedford.
I'll next time I'm out, I'll keep my pinky up all night.
There you go. See if anyone gets it. Queen Victoria got it. She apparently loved it.
I love that. Moving right along, Ryan.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Oh, yeah, I can be ready.
Okay. Did you also do the tea thing? Because it looked like on your face that
I actually went a completely different direction.
Or the gay Greeks. Mine was probably the gayest answer I've done so far between like between like the band of Thebes and then corseted ladies lifting their pinkies. Like
up there. Let's see what you got, Ryan.
All right.
10 minutes starts now.
All right. So I've got a little audio to play, and hopefully you'll quickly understand where I'm coming from. Let's see if you can hear it. Let me know if you can hear it.
James, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The pinky and the brain.
Okay.
One is a genius, the other's insane. In laboratory mice, the genes have this mice.
The pinky and the brain.
Took me a second. I was like, I don't know what this is.
It keeps going, by the way.
It keeps going.
Yes.
I haven't heard that in so long.
Bravo.
So, it turns out Pinky and the Brain, so part of Animaniacs. I don't know. Did both of you watch Animaniacs by chance?
No, but I know what they are, who they are, kind of.
So
they're on the Warner Brothers lot. They're the animals on the Warner Brothers lot.
And this all started on the WB, and it was an animated series that was meant to parody reality. So it kind of had that same vibe, or Animaniacs in general, but it had the same vibe, in my opinion, or as modern like SpongeBob, where adults and children can watch it together.
I see. Because
the cartoon is funny and engaging for a child, while the humor and the parody is relatable as an adult. So it generated like a really kind of big following and has been pervasive in various forms of like pop culture. And it originally appeared on Animaniacs in 93, but ended up being so popular, it had a 65 episode run all of its own, off of its just kind of generic popularity. It was created by a New Jerseyan, by the way. Tom Ruger was his name, from Metuchen, New Jersey. But it's about, for those who don't know or haven't seen it, it's about two genetically enhanced mice. Brain, who's intelligent and scheming and wants to take over the world. And Pinky, who is the good-natured but feeble-minded partner
Oh, poor Pinky.
of Brain. And you heard their voices just a little bit in that recording. I hope it came through. But Brain was actually modeled after Orson Welles.
Oh, interesting.
That makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah,
And look, and apparently his voice was considered to be about 65% Orson Welles and 35% Vincent Price.
Oh, cool.
I thought was kind of funny or interesting. And then the guy who voiced Pinky, his name is Rob Paulson. He's actually like an incredible voice actor who's been in almost everything.
Yeah. I was in a theater company with him.
Are you serious?
Oh.
With Rob Paulson. He's a
That's pretty cool.
great guy. And he voices 2 of the Animaniacs, I want to say.
Yes.
And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and huge. And
the list is.
Yeah. And like,
Really?
I really geeked out when I met, it was a theater company of all like voiceover actors. And sometimes
fun.
we'd go for drinks after the show. And there's nothing funnier than a group of like, than the woman who does the voice of Dexter talking to him doing the voice of like Pinky over martinis and just being like, wow. You know, anyway, I digress. Go for it.
Well, no.
Rob Paulson's a great guy.
Is he British?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's the only reason I asked is so Paulson actually based the Pinky character off of Monty Python, the Goon Show, and basically wanted a goofy British whack job. It was what his kind of like target was. And I had forgotten that Pinky had a British accent up until I did a little bit of a refresher here. But the short of it was that you had, the other thing is, I don't know if you remember this, but Pinky says "narf" after everything. And it's like his response to like the complex things that that Brain throws at him. And it turns out that like Narf ended up picking up like some recognition and use. And there were even words that I think are in the English dictionary that revolve around Narf. And narfistic is when you have an idea or concept that works great when you think about it, but difficult to express, kind of like the word itself.
Nerf.
Oh,
narfistic.
Why does Nerf just makes me think like Nicole Kidman when she's had a Nerf? Like,
Nerf. Yeah.
Nerf.
Nicole Kidman when she's had it. I'm up to here.
I've had a
Nerf.
Nerf.
I'm Nicole Kidman. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, it's oddly like a little. I like that. It's a little Australian.
I can't do Australian.
Oh.
I can't do it. And I just took the air out of the room. I said, I can't do that. Like, what are you going to say to somebody? I was like, I can't do the accent. You guys were like, okay.
Okay.
Just like deflated the room. It's a tough one, though.
I don't think I could. You guys could do accents all the time. And I feel like it's just awkward because I'm a little bit like, I'm just going to end up sounding Scottish.
That's how I am, though. I always sound Russian or, we all default.
We do.
To our safe space.
Australian's hard, though.
Yeah.
To our safe space.
True. But I forgot that he said Nerf.
Nerf.
Yeah. But it picked up a little bit of pop culture. But essentially, so the other thing that I found interesting is it sounds kind of dark in terms of like Brain wants to take over the world. But it turns out that Brain actually is just generally unhappy with the leadership that's around. And it's not that he wants to take over the world. It's that he wants it to be different. And like I read articles about how this was proven by the fact that he actively faced off against his rival, who is Snowball the hamster, the genetically enhanced hamster. And Snowball definitely wants bad for the world. So Pinky and the Brain were determined to stop him and foil his plans to take over the world because what he wanted for the world wasn't good. It was bad.
What does Snowball want for the world?
You know what? I just remember it was more of a sadistic, like, take over and control everyone.
Like just world domination.
Yeah,
just
like world domination.
World domination. Okay.
Yeah.
Just your average world domination.
World domination.
Yeah, the typical things that a hamster wants for the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let me see. I lost my little bit of train of thought. I think one of the other kind of funny storylines in this is that Pinky had a crush on a horse whose name was
Seems like a
Farfig
difficult
Newton.
match. Okay, Farfig Newton.
Farfig Newton was the name of the horse that Pinky loved, right? And Brain actively hated this, and he was like, Pinky, she's a horse and you're a mouse. And he didn't care, but the pop culture reference at the time was actually to the VW commercials. Do you remember when they were doing and it's kind of like Farfig Newton. Farfig Newton, which in German I think means the joy of driving. So,
okay.
So, like, in other words, the joy of driving associated with a horse. Anyway, I just thought it was kind of a funny way that they just decided to play that out.
That's okay. We've all had friends and we hate the people they love, I get it.
Oh, that's the truth. But we fight through it and
There's
choose to
nothing
make
you can do.
bad decisions anyway.
Yeah, you go, that's a horse. You shouldn't be with them. And
You're a
that's all
mouse.
you can do. And you're a mouse.
They're a horse.
And
Oh my God.
it's so obvious you can't be together. And yet,
I didn't
you
realize
just have
the
to let your
statement
friend
it was.
love the horse,
Mhm.
I didn't realize a statement of inclusivity. Look at Pinky in the Brain being out there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm more thinking of like if you just don't like your friends' partners, not because of who they are, but not like just because you don't like them because you're like.
Maybe that's the internal word now. When you don't like your friends' partners, you just look at each other and go, Farfig Newton.
Farfig Newton. He's a real Farfig Newton.
He's a real Farfig Newton.
It's okay.
Newtons. I then think of fruit and cake, another old reference.
Delicious.
Newton. It's not a cookie, it's a Newton.
It's a Newton. It's fruit and cake.
I love that like old Louis C.K. bit where it's like the pig Newton. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
I'll just butcher a joke on here, but he's like his kid was calling it Pig Newtons, and he was like, "I'm pretty sure it's Fig Newtons," and she was like, "No, it's Pig Newton."
Aw.
he was like, I think there's a really easy way to solve this. Like, what's in the cookie?
Ooh, a pig Newton.
Pig or fig? It's like pretty clear.
It's barbecue.
True.
It's barbecue and cake.
Yeah.
Although, wait, Pig Newtons, and instead of fruit, it's a savory Newton.
Ooh. Oh,
And where the
And
cake
that's our
is
time.
cornbread. Oh.
that sounds delicious.
I was just going to share, by the way, it won an Emmy,
Yeah.
the show.
Oh, Pinky
Yeah,
the
it won
Brain?
an Emmy, and the voice actors that did Pinky and the Brain also picked up Annies for their work on the show. So it was critically acclaimed.
as they say.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but definitely like a little bit of being a 90s child.
What a fun trip.
Wow, I didn't think it
Oh,
was going to
man.
go 10 minutes, and look at this.
Look at this.
Look at
Yeah, I'm
this.
sorry, Michael. I love
did
yours,
it.
but Ryan's, that was cool. Pinky and the Brain was a
Cool.
very
What the hell?
creative, unique place to go.
God, you are
I
on
loved
one
your
hell
Pinky
of a
thing,
Hymen
too. Yeah,
Trophy.
Ryan's.
Been a very long
Riding
time since
high.
that's happened, but
Well
I can't
done,
help
sir.
ourselves.
thank you.
Well done.
Oh.
Bravo. Okay. Next week, we're going to do... Oh, I have this blanket in my room. That's actually... It's checker. Well, it's actually houndstooth, now that I'm looking at it closely. But let's do checker.
Cool.
I think it's a houndstooth blanket, but which is its own thing that's very interesting. But let's do checker for next
Okay.
time. Houndstooth.
Checkers.
Cool pattern, cool word.
Uh-huh.
Another episode we'll do houndstooth.
Okay. Checkers it shall be.
I'll start preparing now.
Checkers it shall be. What is that noise?
What is that noise?
Oh, that's my foot. Sorry.
Oh,
At this weird desk. I don't normally sit here. Hold on. Can I do it again?
what are you rolling around like a?
I'm just
Anvil?
rolling my foot across the bottom. It's like a piece of
Oh,
metal.
it sounds like you're kicking around an anvil down there.
Yeah.
Is it ASMR?
Maybe.
Wait, is this is how we end the episode? We'll just fade out on the sound of your feet. Okay, Ryan.
Oh, wow.
That's how you end a show. All right. Until next time, friends.
Until
Checkers.
next time.
Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Bye, guys.